Welcome to Scentonomics, guys. Today we're going to be reviewing Midnight in Paris, the EDT by Van Cleef and Arpels. So, Midnight in Paris was released in 2010. It's a powdery and sweet balsamic fragrance, and the noses behind this is the infamous Olivier Polge, and the other guy, his name is, or other person, their name is Domitille Bertier. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name too badly. Anyway, those two have worked on something famous before, which is Flowerbomb, which everybody knows about. And so this thing is really awesome because one, the price tag. This 75 ml bottle only cost less than 20 bucks, right? Man, some sites you can even get it for 15. And the 125 ml bottle actually comes for around $60 to $65. So the only issue is though that it was discontinued, but nonetheless, it's still available at some places. So I highly suggest that you guys get yourself a bottle before they absolutely run out or the prices skyrocket. So anyway, that was a brief introduction for Midnight in Paris. Now let's move on to the presentation. So for the presentation, it comes in, obviously in a box, which I don't have, but here's the bottle. But the box is fairly protective and has a small cushion on the inside for the bottle to rest in. The bottle itself is amazing, has this nice constellation type design, like a starry night, you know, like a midnight in Paris, right? And so that's pretty cool. The bottom of the bottle is kind of tinted, has a nice tint to it, is bluish slash, yellowish, kind of how a night, the phases of the night would go, the colors. And that's supposed to represent kind of like a, illuminated sky whilst being blissfully unaware of the consequences of light pollution, I guess. The cap of the bottle also fits snugly. It's not magnetic, but it nonetheless snaps in place. And the atomizer, if you can see that was a powerful atomizer. So overall, the bottle is pretty awesome. It has Van Cleef and Arpels on this side right here, and so that's and then it says Midnight on Paris on the other side. So that's kind of where it is on the sides, and the cap fits snug. But again, I don't recommend holding any bottle just by the cap because who knows what could happen. But overall, this bottle is a crazy awesome bottle in terms of the design. You can see through it, so you can tell how much juice is in there, as you can maybe see that I haven't used too much juice, but nonetheless, again, it's a winter scent, so I was just waiting for the time to come up. Anyway, this is an awesome fragrance. That's all I got to say for the presentation. Now let's move on to the scent. So for the scent, the top notes are lemon, bergamot, rosemary, and a leather, which kind of stays there. And then also matcha or green tea, lily of the valley, and styrax. And then at the bottom, there's tonka bean, benzoin, and incense. So when you first spray this, right, you get this light citrus mixed with like the dark leather, and that creates the image of, let's say, if you had like a leather jacket on and you're on your motorcycle cruising down the streets really fast, midnight streets of Paris. Granted, I probably don't fit that image, but I mean, that's what you kind of picture, I guess, if you really tried hard enough. So anyway, after that, right, the leather is the dominant note in here, but it's not one of those notes that are like really, crazy annoying in the sense that they totally just overpower the fragrance. It doesn't work that way. The leather is there, but it doesn't like deter the other notes from showing their face, right? So again, the top citrus, really awesome. And then the scent slowly becomes a little weaker in terms of the citrus, but then it goes into the tea and the lily of the valley that shows up, and then the scent changes to this darker tone later on after the when the dry down starts going by. Then it becomes a little darker, more intricate scent, which you can see is characterized by the base notes, the styrax and the benzoin. Again, they are kind of shadowed, by the tonka bean and the incense, but again, everything kind of does what it's supposed to do. And basically that's it for the fragrance. It's got sweet, citrusy notes at the top, doesn't last for too long, has, that tea, lily of the valley in between. That gives you an awesome combination with the tonka, adds the sweetness, and the leather that starts from the beginning and kind of just goes throughout the life of the fragrance, adds a little darkness to it. So it's like this sweet slash dark fragrance that, isn't too common in the fragrance community, um, especially that can be pulled off like this. So anyway, that's it for the scent. Now let's move on to the rating. So for the rating, I'm going to start off with the uniqueness and distinction. Now, this scent is pretty unique, but some people think it reminds them of the hockey puck by Bulgari. I think it's just called Bulgari Black. I don't really get that. Bulgari Black's like way too strong. I own it, but I can't even really put it on. It's just not for me, I guess. But this thing is really awesome, and you can put it on, so it is fairly unique. So in that regard, I'll give it a 8 out of 10. Um, it's again, it is a little uncommon to have this sweet slash dark scent, especially with the leather and the tonka bean. I mean, that's not too common amongst other fragrances. With that, I'm gonna go into the projection and the sillage. And this scent does project. I mean, if you put it on, let's say 2 to 3 sprays max, not too much, just a little bit. Um, it does last for around 2 hours, I would say, projects around a yard or two, maybe. But after that, people can still smell it on you for a longer time. For longevity, this scent easily lasts around 8 to 9 hours. On a bad day, maybe 7, but it's never been less than 7 as I've been testing it out. So that's in terms of the longevity. With that, let's move on to the complement factor. When you wear this, maybe in the beginning it might be somewhat harsh for some people. I think it's okay, but the dry down is absolutely to die for. It's one of those awesome scents that people will just fall in love with once you wear it. And then beyond that, compliments are not everything, but nonetheless, it is important. Now, when can you wear this? Versatility wise, I think this is an evening scent, fall time scent, and definitely a winter scent. I wouldn't really put this on in the summer or the spring. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, look at it. It's called midnight in Paris, probably for a reason. The other thing is look at the bottle basically tells you what to do and when to do it. So let's just go with that. So for versatility, I give it like a 7 out of 10. All right. So moving on from there, let's go to the centonomic factor. And for the centonomic factor, I would have to give this literally a 10 out of 10. But I'm going to actually give it a 9.5. And the reason why I'm going to give it a 9.5 is because it is discontinued. But if it wasn't discontinued, this is niche quality fragrance for the price of a cheapie. And it's in this awesome bottle. I mean, look at the presentation. Even for the presentation, I would give it a 9 out of 10. But coming back to the centonomic factor, I would give this, like I said, a 9.5 or even a 10. I can't make up my mind. It's like the awesome quality for the price that you're paying, for the performance. You factor in all the important elements of what goes into a fragrance, and you come out with Midnight in Paris, 10 out of 10. So the overall score, the overall taking everything into consideration, uniqueness, distinction, longevity, projection and sillage, complement factor, versatility, all the things that we look for when we're talking about a fragrance, the centonomic factor, the price, all that stuff, said and done, I think this fragrance is easily a 9 out of 10 or a 9.5 out of 10. I would totally recommend anybody and everybody, whether you're male or a female. I mean, even women can pull this off, guys can pull it off. It's just one of those fragrances that everybody should have in their arsenal. So, anyway, that's my review for Midnight in Paris. I hope you guys like this video. I apologize for not putting out a video for a very long time. I just been really busy with this job I recently started. So anyway, pray that that does well. So that being said, I just wanted to ask that everybody please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of Midnight in Paris, if you have the EDT or the EDP, and what your thoughts are on that, and let's get a conversation started. Anyway, this is Nabil signing off from Scentonomics, where every cent counts.